parable that we read in the Gospel of Matthew today is fairly familiar to most of us. It tells us about a shepherd who leaves his flock in search of one lost sheep. As I reflect on this story, my initial thoughts default to feelings of knowing that God cares about me personally. And what a wonderful feeling of comfort and reassurance that is. But as I stayed with the reading for a bit longer, a few words kept grabbing my attention, and those words seemed to tie together so nicely with Advent and my anticipation of the preparation for Christmas. As I sat with this parable, the notion of being lost continued to stay with me. I'm wondering if this is because I often feel lost in big and small ways. Lately, I've been feeling lost and without good clarity in big ways because of our political dualisms, continued wars and conflicts around the world, and the uncertain future of the health of our planet. But also in small ways, with a busy to do list as the holiday season is fully upon us. But what quickly follows these feelings of being lost, which I am over the top grateful for, is the message within the parable about God's searching. As the story goes, God seeks me out when I am lost. God isn't somewhere out there, just observing me being lost and waiting for me to do the searching. God is right here with me, actively moving towards me, and most especially because I feel lost. There are many moments throughout my day and week when it seems easy for me to recognize God's presence, watching the sunrise or staring at the stars. But this parable lets me know that God makes a special point to personally engage with me when things are not well. God doesn't abandon me. In fact, it seems it's just the opposite. The story tells us that God leaves the stable situation when all was well and is present in the unstable during those moments of suffering, loneliness, and burnout, when being lost is all we can seem to feel. This is a different level of comfort and reassurance. But here's the real kicker for me: God is rejoicing in finding me. Jesus says in the reading, "Amen, I say to you, he rejoices." This gospel tells us that it brings God joy to do this. God is apparently not angry or frustrated that we go astray and have left the structure and stability of the 99 like we sometimes feel when our kids go astray. In fact, God rejoices to be with us in our suffering. Not to rejoice that we are suffering, but to rejoice about being in our presence and connecting with us in relationship during our times of suffering. That certainly sounds like good news to me. This is a new revelation for me that brought my attention then to the Advent season. Since beginning my reflection on this parable and the first reading in Isaiah that preceded it, the usual Christmas season messaging of this time of year, such as rejoicing, joy, comfort, and joy, all have a new and a deeper meaning. For me, these words have moved beyond the surface level Christmas story to one of deeper connection and relationship with God. Now, seeing these words and the emotions that come with them as not just coming from me anticipating the birth of Jesus, but also coming from God as anticipating a greater connection with me. I think God is anticipating Christmas as much as I am. God doesn't appear to be sitting on the sidelines watching us go through the motions of life. God seems to be actively engaged in connecting with us even more so than us to God. In this parable, Jesus is telling us something very important about who God is. God longs to know us just as much as, and maybe even more so, than we long to know God. This brings me comfort and joy during this Advent season, and it appears to bring comfort and joy to God too. Amen.